Hello, my name is Tim Tanzel. I'm a vice president here with TKO, and I'm here with David Leha, our president, and I'm going to hand things over to him in just a moment. Well, not completely hand it over. We're actually going to do a little interview for him here. This is going to be informal, but to learn a little bit more about David and why he started TKO. So I'm just going to jump right into things and just ask you a few questions here, Dave. The very first question is why did you start TKO? What prompted you to start this brand and to start the mission of TKO?
Thank you, Tim. There were three events during the beginning with the summer of 2016. One being the unfortunate the massacre at the Pulse nightclub in Florida that really hit home just because of the unspeakable violence that manifested itself there, and there were two suicides of two beautiful young ladies. One Bethany Thompson from Ohio, and Brandy Vela from here, from our own home state in Texas City. So with the beginning shooting at the Pulse nightclub, I told myself, like, man, what can we do to stop this madness? And then reading about the suicides of the two young ladies because of bullying, I'm like, well, not only do we have to spread a message against hate, I mean, what can we do to give a hand and put an end to the bullying? So I sat down and started thinking of an idea, of a concept, and that's when I started coming up with the concept of TKO and building a brand. I go that we can use as our tool. I go to eradicate. I go this epidemic.
That's great, and especially hearing those stories about the little girls. It's almost like an epidemic. This bullying and the results of it are just really, really tragic. And as I was sitting there listening to you too, I was just thinking, I know, Dave, that you really haven't had any training like in graphic design or anything like that. But when I even first saw this logo, I was just real impressed with the way that it looks and the way that it pops and all of that. And I was thinking that it would be great for everyone out there to know kind of, how did you start with the logo? What is it that you did? It may be kind of a hard question, but how did you conceptualize it? How do you get from where we are, where you were, to where we are today with this great design on the T-shirt? So
that's a good question. When the concept first came to me, in like I said, in the summer of 2016, I'm sitting there with pencil and paper, and I'm wondering, what can I come up with? What logo can we use to build this brand? I go and move forward. And I'm like thinking the problem is hate. I go, the problem is bullying. I go, so what can we do to defeat this? So thinking in boxing terms, I'm like, how can we knock out, how can we TKO, this problem? So yes. I thought to myself, TKO. But, I told others, and they're like, David, TKO is everywhere. Mm-hmm. It's used 100 times in all kinds of forms, not just in boxing. So, I think to myself, well, how can I make this stand out, man? So I'm like, what can stand in the way in defiance of hate? So I'm looking at the TKO, the lettering, the logo, in so many forms. And I'm like, well, I broke out the good old thesaurus, and then, I started looking for words, what can I use to combat this? So I came out with, tolerance, kindness, and I'm looking at the O, and I'm like, what can I do with that, man? So for us to stand out, I just started scribbling, and I drew a peace sign. But I'm telling myself, tolerance, kindness, peace. That really doesn't work the way you see it on our current logo. You see, tolerance, kindness, overcomes. But you're going to see tolerance, kindness, peace. Well, that's really, people can tell, well, that's TKP. Not the peace sign.
Not the O.
So after giving it a little bit more thought and doing a little bit more homework, I'm like, you know what? I go overcomes. So I'm like, tolerance, kindness can overcome hate and bigotry, and violence. So hence that's where the whole concept, came to life.
Wow, that's great. And for me personally, I'm so glad to be a part of TKO, and I love this logo. But more than anything, I love the giving and the community outreach and everything that TKO stands for. So that was just a quick little snippet with David there about why this brand, or how this brand was started, and the reasons that it was started. So thanks for listening.